China has just introduced a new technology that's shaking up the entire tech industry. What makes this development even more intriguing is the timing and its potential impact on US-China relations. On January 20th, the very same day Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States, China released DeepSeek R1, an advanced AI tool designed for deep data analysis. This tool is now a direct competitor to America's OpenAI. Building large language models like those from Google and OpenAI took years and billions of dollars. But now a Chinese research lab has built a model that's just as capable in only 2 months, using more affordable hardware and costing less than $6 million, not billion. This is a major story because it could reshape the future of technology worldwide. But there's more to this than just the technology. China strategically released DeepSeek R1 on the morning of Trump's inauguration, sending a strong message to the US government. Under the Biden administration, the US imposed harsh tech sanctions on China, aiming to curb the country's technological rise. But China's launch shows they've not only survived the sanctions, but have thrived. The new AI software performs just as well as its American counterparts, but at a fraction of the cost and with half the technology. What's even more surprising is that China has made DeepSeek R1 open source, allowing anyone to view, modify, and use it. This could challenge the dominance of industry giants like OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and Meta. The barriers to entry in AI are shrinking fast. It's clear that many Silicon Valley leaders are worried about this shift. For years, American tech companies like Nvidia, Google, and Meta have led the AI industry. But China has once again defied expectations and achieved something remarkable. To understand how significant this is, let's look back at May 2024, when former Google CEO Eric Schmidt confidently stated that the future of AI was firmly in the hands of the United States. Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, once made a bold statement that the future of AI was firmly in the hands of the United States. Schmidt was one of the most influential voices in the American AI industry. Fast forward to November, just 6 months later, and he completely revised his stance. In a speech at Harvard University, Schmidt admitted that Chinese companies like Alibaba and Tencent were rapidly closing the AI gap, acknowledging, "I thought the restrictions we placed on chips would keep them back." This is shocking to me. This shift in perspective is significant. In today's episode, we're going to explore the implications of China's new technological breakthrough and what it means for the future of US-China relations, especially with Donald Trump returning to the White House. I'll break down everything you need to know. Policy is likely to create tension with many countries around the world. It's particularly ironic given the US has long championed the idea of free trade globally. Yet in practice, the US government is focused on maintaining its global dominance. When Donald Trump started the trade war with China in 2018, he had 2 key goals: reduce the trade deficit with China and limit China's dominance in global manufacturing. But 7 years later, we're seeing that the trade war hasn't succeeded in achieving either of these objectives. China's trade surplus reached a record high of nearly $1 trillion. Since the trade war began in 2018, China's surplus has only continued to grow. Just 4 days before Trump's return to the White House, the Wall Street Journal published a warning to the new administration. China now has a $1 trillion head start in any potential tariff battle. Even the US's secondary goal of reducing China's global position in manufacturing has failed. According to data from the United Nations, China now accounts for 27% of global industrial production, up from 24% in 2018. By 2030, the UN predicts that China's share of global industry could rise to 45%. Despite all of America's efforts to curb China's growth, Chinese factories are dominating global manufacturing at a level not seen since the United States post-World War II. Kure Mapani, Singapore's former ambassador to the United Nations, issued a cautionary note to Washington. He warned that the US risks going down a dangerous path by attempting to decouple from China. If the US tries to sever ties with Chinese companies and their global influence, it is not only decoupling from China, but also from the rest of the world. Trump's trade war has accelerated the global reach of Chinese companies, forcing them to expand faster than they might have without the U.S. tariffs. This chart highlights the growing contrast between foreign companies in China and Chinese companies abroad. While foreign brands have seen a decline in China, Chinese brands are aggressively expanding overseas. What we are witnessing in real time is that U.S. efforts to contain China have had the opposite effect, accelerating China's progress across multiple industries. Nowhere is this more evident than in China's advancements in semiconductors and AI. For years, China relied on importing hundreds of billions of dollars in American microchips. At the time, China was happy to be the United States' top customer. However, after the U.S. imposed restrictions, China redirected those resources back into its domestic tech industry. Now, Chinese companies are more profitable, have greater capabilities, and are investing heavily in research and development. In essence, the U.S. forced Chinese tech companies to achieve what they had not previously needed to: self-sufficiency and innovation in critical industries. This is how China developed DeepSeek R1, a groundbreaking open-source AI tool that has Silicon Valley executives deeply concerned. The first reason for concern is that China has demonstrated you don't need billions of dollars to produce this type of software. Tech insiders are stunned that China managed to build a rival to OpenAI in less than 2 months with a budget of only $6 million. Why such a stark difference in cost? For just $6 million, you're getting a model that rivals the frontier models created by OpenAI and Llama. This is a major turning point for the future of America's tech industry. A blog post from Meta's AI team has gone viral, exposing a massive challenge for Mark Zuckerberg and Silicon Valley executives. Engineers are scrambling to understand DeepSeek and replicate its innovations. Management is grappling with justifying the enormous costs of Gen AI when the cost of training DeepSeek v3 is so much lower. Having lived in China for over a decade, I've come to realize that solving complex problems is ingrained in the country's DNA. 10 years ago, Harvard Business Review claimed China lacked the ability to innovate. But today, we're seeing some of America's most influential tech investors, like billionaire Mark Andreessen, who helped create the world's first web browser, recognize DeepSeek R1 as one of the most remarkable breakthroughs in AI, and its open source, a profound gift to the world. This story goes far beyond just a breakthrough in AI development. The world is waking up to the fact that China has officially caught up and is surpassing the U.S. in technology and innovation, despite America's best efforts to stifle China's rise. From Stanford to MIT, DeepSeek R1 has rapidly become the AI model of choice for top researchers in the U.S. Independent testing has shown that DeepSeek R1's quality is nearly identical to OpenAI's, but at a fraction of the cost, 30 times cheaper. Mark Andreessen, a tech billionaire, recently stated that this week may have been the most pivotal of the decade for 2 very different reasons: the re-election of Donald Trump and China's new AI development. While it's a bold statement, it's true. As we've seen in today's video, DeepSeek R1 has turned the tech industry upside down overnight. With Trump's return to the White House, there will be significant uncertainty regarding the future of geopolitics and global trade. Will Trump continue his efforts to contain China, or will he look to cooperate and make the world a better place? I truly hope that the US and China can find ways to collaborate. As this MIT Technology Review article suggests, there can be no clear winners in a US-China AI arms race. Interestingly, nearly half of all top AI researchers globally, 47% to be exact, were born or educated in China, according to industry studies. This means that if the United States hopes to influence the future of AI, it will have to engage with China.